What is the main purpose of the OpenShift router? The OpenShift router handles external traffic and routes it to the appropriate services within the OpenShift cluster. It manages routes that map external URLs to internal services, allowing external access to applications. How does OpenShift manage logs for applications running in the cluster? OpenShift integrates an aggregated logging stack based on the ELK stack or similar tools to collect, store, and analyze application logs across the cluster. Which OpenShift resource allows you to define the image to use and how an application is built? Build config defines how an application is built and what image should be used. It can build from a Docker file, source to image, S2I, or a binary input, allowing developers to automate builds based on source code. What is the difference between a persistent volume (PV) and a persistent volume claim (PVC) in OpenShift/Kubernetes? A PV is a piece of storage provisioned by an admin in the cluster, while a PVC is a request from users to claim storage. How do OpenShift operators automate day 2 operations for applications? Operators automate day 2 operations, such as upgrades and scaling, by extending the Kubernetes API with CRD. How can you manage custom metrics for an OpenShift application? OpenShift can be integrated with Prometheus to collect and manage custom application metrics. These metrics can be used for monitoring or auto-scaling pods based on specific performance indicators. Which command can be used to create a new project in OpenShift? The awk new project command creates a new project in OpenShift, which acts as a namespace for managing resources like pods, services, and routes. Projects provide isolation and management boundaries for applications. How does OpenShift support automated testing and CI/CD workflows? OpenShift pipelines, based on Tekton, enable users to create cloud-native CI/CD workflows. Pipelines automate application testing, building, and deployment. How are external users authenticated in OpenShift? OpenShift supports external user authentication through identity providers, IDPs, like LedApp, OAuth, or SAML. Administrators can configure different IDPs to manage user authentication. What role does OpenShift's Prometheus integration play in monitoring? Prometheus collects cluster and application metrics, allowing for real-time monitoring and alerting. It works with Grafana to visualize these metrics, providing dashboards for observability of performance and resource utilization. How does OpenShift pipelines, Tekton, ensure that pipeline tasks are run in the correct order? OpenShift pipelines use task dependencies to ensure that tasks are executed in the correct order. Tasks can be defined to run sequentially based on the output or status of previous tasks. How can a developer create a route to expose a service externally in OpenShift? The OC-expose SVC command exposes an existing service to the external network by creating a route in OpenShift. The route provides an externally accessible URL for clients to interact with the service. What tool in OpenShift allows you to visualize your microservice architecture and traffic flows? Chiali is part of the OpenShift service mesh and provides a graphical visualization of your microservices, traffic flows, and communication between services. How does OpenShift handle automated builds when changes are pushed to a repository? Build config triggers automatically start a new build in OpenShift when changes are pushed to a connected source code repository. This ensures that the latest code is always built and deployed without manual intervention. How can you automate application deployment in OpenShift across different environments: dev, staging, prod? GitOps, with tools like Argo CD, allows for automated application deployment across different environments by synchronizing Kubernetes manifests from Git repositories, ensuring consistency and version control. How does OpenShift Pipelines, Tecton, allow you to reuse pipeline components across different workflows? Tecton pipelines support pipeline resources, which can be shared across different pipeline workflows. This allows tasks like building or deploying code to be reused across multiple pipelines. How do you restrict access to certain OpenShift resources for a specific user? Role-based access control, RBAC, allows administrators to define roles and assign them to specific users or groups, restricting their access to certain OpenShift resources and ensuring that only authorized users can manage critical resources. How does OpenShift support automated updates for applications without downtime? Deployment configs in OpenShift support automated, rolling updates for applications, and routes manage traffic routing during the update. This ensures that applications can be updated without downtime, minimizing the impact on users. How does OpenShift's Jenkins integration enable CI/CD pipelines? OpenShift integrates with Jenkins to enable CI/CD pipelines. Developers can create Jenkins pipelines directly in OpenShift, allowing for automated builds, testing, and deployment triggered by events like source code changes. How does OpenShift ensure application isolation between development and production environments? Projects, namespaces, provide isolation between different environments in OpenShift, ensuring that resources in development do not affect production and vice versa. Each environment can have its own resources, policies, and access controls.